my top 5 best current jokes. There was an elderly lady that had went to visit a friend of hers in another town. And as she was leaving, she stopped in a pet store, just for the hell of it. And as she's walking through, there happens to be this large toad in a bowl. As she walks by, the toad says, "Buy me, you won't be sorry." The woman walks around thinking about it for a while, kind of bewildered really that Toad would even speak to her. Thinking that she might be losing her mind, she goes ahead and buys the toad. Puts it in the driver's or passenger seat and gets in the driver's seat and begins to drive on to her town. About a third of the way there, the toad turns to her and he says, "Kiss me, you won't be sorry." The old woman thinks about it for a minute. She's driving along. And traffic, not a lot of traffic. At one point it kind of gets desolate. He's looking at her and she's kind of glancing back and forth, and she reaches over and puts Toad back. Toad turns into this beautiful young prince, gorgeous, strapping young fella. And he reaches over, kisses the woman back on the cheek, and she turned into something. You know what it was? It's a motel. It's right up there on the right. Real convenient. Number 2. Woman goes into a bathing suit shop. Now she normally doesn't travel alone. She takes her friend with her because she has a bad speech impediment and hates to talk in public. But her friend is a real estate agent and showing houses that day and can't be there, and she's got to have these suits for this upcoming event, so she ventures out on her own, as difficult as it may be. She finds a nice shop. She's in it looking around. She's in there for about 20 minutes. She can't find a price on anything. The shop kind of empties out a little bit. Just her and one or two of the people and the lady cashier. She calls up kind of quietly as she can, "Hey, Jimmy, how much are the suits on this rack?" The woman says all the suits on that rack are last year's suits and they're $79 and up. She's like, that kind of high. So she walks around some more. She's looking on the other side of the store a little bit. Sees some suits she likes. Can't find a price on anything. Looks around, pretty dead. "Hey, Jimmy, what about these suits?" The woman says, "Well, those are all this year's suits and they're $89 and up." Oh, it's even higher. So she kind of like gonna get ready to leave. She comes out in the center aisle. She notices on the back there's a very short back, little bitty bathing suit. She's like, small as those are, maybe those will be cheap. So about a third of the way to the desk, she stops and she goes, "What about the little bitty suit?" The woman says, "Well, those are all designer suits and they're $109 and up." She's exasperated at this point. She's just going to leave. And as she gets to the cashier's desk, she says, "Apparently, I can't afford anything in your shop, but I do want to thank you for not making fun of my beach." The woman says, "Well, you're very welcome. And I want to thank you for not making fun of the hump on my back." She says, "Oh, the hump?" She goes, "You know, I had begun to think that was your ass. Everything's so fucking high in here." Number 3. A man and a woman have been married a long time, and he's built quite a nice business. And of late, it's caused him to have to travel a lot, and he worries about her, and she worries about being alone, and they thought about getting something for protection, and she didn't trust herself with a gun, and they don't want the maintenance of a large dog, and for the last 3 or 4 years, it's been a point of quite debate in their marriage. And at one point, the woman happened to be out and about and stopped at this pet store, and they just happened to have this sign up that says, "New protection system, biological, brand new something that they found." And supposedly this is something in the Indonesian islands that runs around there that's meaner than hell and tiny, and it's called a woolly booger. And, well, they're apparently easy to train. So the fella's telling her all about it. Very easy to get, a little expensive, but they're easy to train. Do anything you want. So she, "All right, I'll look at one." He brings it out. It's just a fur ball about that big. Sets it down on the desk, and it kind of moves around a little bit, not much. She said, all he does? He said, well, till you need him, yeah. They don't really move around much. They eat quite a bit, but that's about it. They go outside easy. She's like, okay, but what good are they of protection? He said, well, watch this. And he gets a big old wooden stick, and he goes, woolly booger, stick, woolly booger. Just all you see is teeth and fur, and all that's left is practically sawdust. She's like, would he do that for me? He's like, scoop it off, put another stick, try it. She says, woolly booger, stick. It's practically sawdust. She's like, oh man, that's a... She goes, oh, but what if the robber's got a steel pipe? The guy breaks off the sawdust, puts a pipe down. He goes, try it. She goes, woolly booger pipe. And the pipe just looks like it had been through just a mangler. It was just bent and rotten, strung, and there's just not a mark on the woolly booger. And she's like, how much is one of these? So she buys it. She takes it home, and 3 days later, her husband comes home, and she meets him at the door with her hand behind her back, got this little woolly booger in her hand. She can't wait to show this little thing off. So he comes in, and he's looking at her just standing there, and he can't get her to turn where her back's visible. He's looking, what do you got back here? She says, I found the perfect home protection. She goes, they're the easiest thing I've ever seen to train, and they're easy as hell to keep. You're gonna love it. And she pulls this thing out, and she goes, this is a woolly booger. He looks at it, and he goes, woolly booger, woolly booger, woolly booger my ass. Okay. There's a Southern Belle. She enters a contest for a trip to New York City, all expenses paid, and wins the trip. Gets to spend the entire week in New York City, doesn't cost her a dime. So she goes, spends a week in New York City, and comes back, her little Southern Belle girlfriend, and a little bit of her family, and they're all sitting there on the front porch with the lemonade, and got their little Southern Belle fans going, and talking about her trip, and they're all asking her questions. In the midst of the questions, her one friend says, why, did you see anything unusual in New York? And the woman says, well, as a matter of fact, I did. She says, in New York, she says, did you know they got women's, what will kiss women's on their lips? Her friend says, oh my. She says, yeah, they calls them lesbians. And her friend says, oh dear, is that all? She goes, oh no. She says, in New York, they got men's, what kisses men's on their lip. Her friend says, oh my. She says, yeah, they calls them homosexuals. And her friend says, oh dear, is that all? She says, oh no. She says, in New York, they got men's, what kisses women's on the genitals. Her friend says, oh my, what do they call them? She says, you know, I never thought to ask. Once I caught my breath, I just called him Precious. After many, many years in the stock exchange, for his health, his doctor and 2 specialists have advised this fella to move away from the city and buy a little farm. Learn to slow down, that or die. And under the threat, he figured he may want to get a little farm and slow down. He had amassed a little bit of a fortune and liked to spend of it before he died. So he finds a little spot and buys him a little farm. Gets everything set up, buildings built, corrals made, decides to go ahead and get him some animals to put on his farm. Figures start small, get a mule, help pull the stumps and rocks, maybe plow. A rooster and some hens, you know, for eggs and chicken. That ought to about do it. He figured he'd be enough. So he goes down to what's called the sale barn to go buy these animals. And he says, well, I figured I just want to start small. I'd like a mule, a rooster, and some hens, and that's it. Just a starter kit. And fella says, well, you must not be from around here because those aren't the names we call them. Hens are sold by the pullet. There's 16 hens in a pullet. Some people have 2-3 pullets at a time. Roosters are cocks. We sell them one at a time. You only need one. They're more valuable than the pullets. So usually one cock to every 2-3 pullets would do. And we don't sell mules, we sell asses. If you want mules, you'll have to go to another state. We don't have them, we have asses. Asses are work animals. Guys like, okay. So all day he's having to go through this about how to care for the cocks, how to care for the pullet of hens, what they need, what the ass is going to need, so now he says, now at the very last minute, the guy's got the rooster under one arm, this big old cage, all these hens stuffed in this collapsible cage, so when he sets it down in the thing, it just collapses open and they all run and they're free. Set the rooster down, they're free, put them in there ready to go. Got the reins of the mule. Fella tells him now every mule's got a trigger. If he stops, all you got to do, satisfy his trigger, he'll go again. This mule, it's his left ear. You scratch him behind his left ear. When you do, he'll go again. That's his trigger. That's what makes him go. So if he stops, just scratch him behind his left ear, you'll be fine. So, guy's got a ways to go. Stuff won't fit in a car. He's got to walk it home. Good 1.5 miles down the road. And he's walking and walking, and the cage is getting heavy, and the rooster's struggling, and the mule's pulling, and he's going on, and about 1/4 mile from about 100 yards from the driveway, that mule stops. The old boy's trying to reach up, but he can't reach the hens up that far, and he can't set them down. They'll all take off. He can't let go of the rooster. He's trying to pull on the reins, but every time he tries to reach up, the mule pulls back. He can't reach the ear, and this whole insane struggle going along. And about that time, this lady comes along in this beautiful Cadillac and slows down and stops. She says, "Oh, you seem to have the awfulest time. Would there be anything I could do to help you?" "Yes, ma'am. Sure is. Could you hold my cock and pull it so's I could scratch my ass?"